something you never done seen. Swaggy but still an MC. My guilty conscience, that bitch just keep on talking. Say you're not touching the thing, you ass boys. Probably gonna sing for the moment. Fuck the police when it's me and my team. Pussy that's bad means give a life word to the 313.
What is going on YouTube? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz content. I just wanted to apologize for not uploading for a while. I've been just really busy with the start of the new year, just busy with life stuff, and I haven't been going to locals that often until the past few weeks. And recently I just been taking actually RWBY to my local tournament, because what I liked about this deck was it allowed me to kind of just test around different climax combos depending on the metagame. And one list that I was kind of just messing around with was one that I saw that was appearing during the BCS season, before the World Championship, which was choice and two different standby. So basically 4 choice, 4 standby, but the split 2-2. 2 of the Pyrrha and 2 of the RWBY combo. And the reason why you would run this is because this specific genre allows you to swap out the 1-step combo climax when it comes into play from hand with the Pyrrha 3-step climax. So this allowed you to essentially be able to run both finishers in the deck without sacrificing the steam that the deck needed, since the benefit of having a 1k1 was that you could push for soul damage while still setting up boards like a traditional standby deck. So I decided to go with this kind of lineup, and overall it actually has been doing pretty well. If you checked my Twitter, I posted the one that I built last week. I made changes from that build, and I actually went undefeated again this past Sunday as of recording this. So this list is actually really good. I would recommend you trying it out if you're interested in looking at building RWBY. And overall, what I liked about this build over the other one was that it allowed me to kind of thin through my deck and get the deck speed that I needed to when it was necessary. And I was able to kind of fix a lot of the deck speed problems that this set had, thanks to some of the other cards that I was able to tech in. So without further ado, let's get onto the deck profile, starting off with the level 0s. So we start off with 4 copies of the James Ironwood. So the James Ironwood is essentially the Nino from Quince, but for RWBY. So instead of sending Nino trait, you're just sending remnant characters to draw, and then you discard 1 to check the top card to salvage. So this allows you to not only trigger check, but it's a really great opener, because not only does it allow you to set up your standby targets, but allow you to filter out dead cards that you don't need. So we played as a 4 of. Next, we play 4 copies of the Sun Wukong. So this Sun Wukong is essentially Aqua from Hololive or Laplace. So except it has a different requirement. So when this comes into play from hand, it gains plus 2k, and it has the ability, when it reverses an opponent's character, you may pay 1, put the top card of your deck to clock, and then check the top 2 cards. If one or both of them are remnant characters, you can add up to 2 to your hand. So this allows you to essentially get a free +1, and it's an offensive Ricky, which is really nice. So it allows you to answer very easy boards and get you the pieces that you needed, and it also gives you some free deck speed. So we play 4 of that for not only our main yellow at level 0, but also just for our main plussing level 0. Next, we play 3 copies of the Pyrrha Fall Maiden's Vessel. So you still need to play the Rize in the deck, because since you're still running the RWBY finisher, this card is actually really good. And it's also additional deck speed, since it does have the ability on reverse, reveal the top 3 up to the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose 1 remnant character added to your hand, discard a card, and then if you have 2 or less of this specific card in memory, just 2 or less cards in memory, shove it into memory. So this allows you to get free deck speed, as well as your goal is to at least shove in 2 of them into memory so you can fulfill the RWBY level 3 climax combo requirements. So we play 3 of that. In my current build, I am playing 3 copies of the Blake and Yang new uniforms. So this was a tech that I was testing out for this tournament because I noticed a lot of decks, specifically Hololive, 7 Deadly Sins, Slime, and even Overlord have on death Rickies or any character like on death characters that give them additional pluses. So I needed some kind of answer instead of just giving them the ability to activate the effect. So I needed some kind of like answer to it. Like you could choose the Lai Ren, which is a clock bomb, but that's not always guaranteed. So I needed some kind of beat stick that does the same thing. And when I was looking through my piles, I noticed that this promo that my shop kept handing out, and I was kind of just ignoring it for majority of the time. But when I looked at it again, just like the night before, and I looked at how it's a bottom deck bomb for level 0s, as well as with the ability attack. When it attacks, you can check up to the top 2 cards of your deck, send 1 to the rating room, and put 1 back on top. I was like, okay, so this solves 2 issues. One, it's a deck speed card that allows you to thin out triggers, but at the same time you are able to not only sculpt your triggers but also answer potential level 0s that your opponent has that you don't want them to gain any additional advantage off of. So it fulfilled those 2 requirements of one being a deck speed card and the second being some kind of answer to the utility level 0s. So I decided to try this out, and it actually has been working really nice. Being able to just deny my opponent resources. But the issue that I've noticed is that in other matchups where it's a little bit more where their utilities don't rely on being on death, this card kinda underperforms, and it only is good at the early stages. So I might look at considering the Lai Ren, since Lai Ren can be used throughout the game, and it allows me to kind of just take advantage of other utility cards in this deck. So I might consider playing that and cutting this out. Continuing on with the level 0s, we play 3 copies of the Nora Valkyrie Salvage Brainstorm. So in my previous build I played 2, but upon further testing I realized being able to just have a Salvage Brainstorm quickly on axis when you know that your deck's in a decent compression state and you just want to take advantage of just milling through your deck and getting pieces that you need from the waiting room. I found that 2 made it very hard, and I had to constantly clutch the Ironwood to do it. And instead of using the Ironwood to get this, to try to get the Brainstorm, I could have used the Ironwood to get other utility pieces. So I decided after testing to kind of incorporate a 3rd one, and it's been actually working really well. And then lastly, for the 0s, we play 1 copy of the RWBY life-changing scene. So this is your climax swapper. I might pump this up to 2, because just having an extra climax swap, since especially with this deck, climax swapping is actually still pretty needed. And I do have other ways to get the climaxes that I need, but just having just that extra assurance is just helpful. So I may consider putting this up to 2, but I'm gonna still continue testing to see how the synergies work. So now onto level 1, we play 4 copy of the Jean School Dance. So this Jean is essentially pairs with the Choice, and it's essentially Corone from Hololive, except it's on climax placement. And what's great about this Jean is that you can put like multiples in the front row and maybe 1 in the back row, and then still be able to get the climax combo off the back row. And what you're simply going to do is just proc it on a lane that you can guarantee reverse, and you're basically using the Jean's power pumps to either pump that lane to get that reverse or pump themselves to clear the lane. So the Jeans were actually very useful because it's a non-intrusive plussing combo that allowed you to pick and choose where to put it without having to constantly relying on reversing all the lanes. You could just stack it onto one lane that you can guarantee the reverse and reverse there. Continuing on, we play 2 copies of the Uniform Pura. So this gains the ability, if you have 2 or more other Remnant characters, when it comes to play, draw ditch. It's a level 1 bomb, and when this is sent to waiting room, if you have 2 or less cards in memory, you can shove this Pura if it's in the waiting room into memory. So this is additional just memory pushing and free deck filter. So this card, Adam Taurus, was like really the MVP of my deck. Being able to just essentially get a free plus on attack when you are already either crashed a lane, or if you, let's say, proc your Jeans, you could sack the one in the back row to, if the other ones are going to survive, just to dig deeper into your deck. So this is essentially another climax combo on legs without being a climax combo. So this is why I like this card so much. It's so bonkers. Being able to just sack a character and like clear that lane if you're already like crashed into it, to get another card to dig deeper in by one card, and then dig deeper by another card through the trigger, and potentially hitting the standby trigger, just makes this card all the more valuable. And like in all of my builds with RWBY, I found this card just to be overwhelmingly like just overperforming, and I really like this card. And I feel like this is easily a 2 of in any deck if you are trying to build a RWBY centered deck. So you got to play 2 copies of the Adam Taurus. Moving on to the level 2s, I play 1 copy of the Crow Bronwyn refresh backup. I was playing 2, but I wanted to make room for a memory kick backup, because I've noticed that there were some lanes that I just like, if I could defend with a little bit more power on the backswing, I could guarantee protecting one lane and clearing it up for me to like front line a free weenie in order to direct. And not only that, it's a memory kick counter, so like any hand-on core characters that your opponent plays just immediately get checked. So far it's been working really good, just playing the 2-1 Jacques. And then lastly, for the level 2s, we play 2 copies of the Jean Arc, which is both a level booster, and if this is on board, your other of the Pura Nikos gains an additional 500 and hand-on core, which is really nice. So I mainly use this just to guarantee that the Puras just get really big. Your lanes just get really big. And it's my main standby target at level 1. So originally I was playing 2 of this and 2 of the 2/2, but I opted to cut it out after testing because I realized the 2/2 wasn't really needed, because your main target you always want to get is the Jean, just so you don't have to spend the stock to play it from hand. The more you can efficiently like spend less stock, the better your game plan just becomes overall. So like just being able to do all that is just beautiful. And then moving on to the level 3s, I play 1 copy of the Vital Festival Ruby Rose, just your standard alt finisher, on play salvage, and then after the attack, pay 2, discard 2, burn 2. I also play 1 Neapolitan. And then I play 2 copies of the early play Blake Belladonna. So I tech this in against after testing, I realized if I could have some kind of early game sustain, it would have like helped me more overall, just staying at level 2, because this deck actually kind of likes staying at level 2 as much as you can. And with the amount of speed and like plays that I've been doing, I have been able to stay at level 2 quite a bit. So being able to just maintain that advantage when I can is just helpful. And when I don't want to hit level 3 early, this is just a great like salvation card. And then lastly, for the level 3s, we play 3 copies of the Pura Nikos. So basically when she's on stage, center stage, all characters get plus 1500. And with the climax combo with this standby, when this gets called in by this standby card in the stage, you get to pay to send this specific standby to waiting room, restand it, and then you get to shuffle back cards into your opponent from your opponent's waiting room into your deck equal to the total number of remnant characters on board. So basically you're gonna be playing this on a full board and being able to just decompress your opponent. And if you know that deck doesn't play free fresh counters, being able to just punish them for when they try to basically refresh, swing into like 1 or 2 cards in deck to help cleanly refresh, just feels all the more better. And if you're not going to do the RWBY finisher, this is just beautiful insult to injury. And then lastly, we play 4 copies of the RWBY Rose, like the best finisher in the deck, honestly, because being able to just burn 3 clock kick is just great. Like if Konosuba could run the Megumin as a standby instead of a stock soul pay 1 rest, they would still be a good deck, that version of Megumin. And I just like this because it's an early play heal that is an 11k, and with the Jean and Pyrrha could easily hit 14-15k. So just having that out is just really nice. So here once again, here's the climax makeup. So 4 choice, 2 of the RWBY standby, and then 2 of the Pyrrha standby. So overall, I like this deck. I might tweak around some of the ratios and try this again next week. The next deck that I am going to be messing around with is going to be Kaguya-sama, since second set has popped up, as well as Data Live, since the next set is coming up in the next few weeks. So I will be looking into that. But overall, I am right now just currently been messing with RWBY, and I will showcase a 7 Deadly Sins deck in the near future, but I'm still just ironing everything out with that deck. I'm not ready to showcase it, but overall I like this version of RWBY. It's just overall it's been performing really well, and I am looking forward to see how well I can continue to take this deck. So once again, this is Platinum Point. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, crack the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys again soon. Peace out, guys.